Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Are you sick of looking at Netflix and you don't know what to watch?
So many movies out there, you don't know which ones are good, which ones were bad.
You curious about what's out there?
I'm Joey Powers.
I'm Don Trettler.
This is the best pictures.
The ones you don't want to miss.
Hit it.
Say hello to my little friend.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Winners go home and prom queen.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I don't deserve this. Deserves got nothing to do with it. No sequel for you.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Best Pictures / the Best Pictures. I'm one of your hosts, Joey Powers.
Hey, and I'm Don Trettler. Welcome to the show. We're going to talk about baseball and movies.
Yes, we're going to kick it off with movies real quick, but mostly talk about baseball because tonight is the Home Run Derby.
Right.
Pete Alonso, the Mets first baseman, is the two-time defending champion, and
Exciting.
He's the number 2 seed. They did it based on this year's home runs.
Ah.
I forgot who he's facing, but it's going to be interesting. But first, we were going to talk about movies, and I saw this article on MSN ranking the top 10. Well, they didn't rank. It's IMDb's top 10 rated movies that made over $1 billion worldwide. And obviously I'm a movie person, so I was going to read the article. And one of the movies in the top 10 was the first movie ever to make over $1 billion worldwide. And like I said, it was early 90s. Thinking about it, it makes sense, but at the time, I didn't think about it because I didn't realize they were going to mention that. But, giving you time to think about it, you have any idea what do you think it was?
Titanic.
Titanic?
Yeah.
No, that might have been the second one.
Oh, okay. So it's a 90s movie, and it's not Titanic.
No, it was before Titanic.
Wow.
It's not really going to surprise you.
Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I honestly, like I said, if I had known that they were going to ask that, I would have thought, and I probably would have said Titanic too.
Yeah.
But Jurassic Park was the first one to make over $1 billion worldwide. I don't remember exactly, although when the article popped up and they showed a couple pictures, I already knew what the number one was. It was The Dark Knight. It gets like a 9.1.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King was like 9.0. Then you got like a cluster of like Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Joker, Maverick. They're all like between like 8.4 and 8.6. I wish I could pop up the list because, like I said, between the two of us, we've probably seen all of them because you've seen The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Have you seen Maverick?
No.
Okay, I guess neither one of us have seen Maverick, but I haven't seen any of The Lord of the Rings, but I saw, like Colin mentioned, Spider-Man. What's it called again, Colin? No Way Home. That's on there, and that made a ton of money last year into this year.
Right.
So the weekend, Thor, Love and Thunder won again.
That was the opening weekend? That's the second weekend?
This is Thor's second weekend.
Okay.
Dropped quite a bit, 68% from last weekend.
Bad word of mouth, you think?
Yes. That's exactly what the article said is it gets a B+ as opposed to A from Ragnarok. And it's a healthy decline from its first weekend to its second weekend. But the article also brought up a good point. The last 4 Marvel movies have all dropped at least 65% in their second weekend, which is an telling sign that people are finally marveled out. Because Spider-Man made a ton of money, but that was such a big opening that of course it was going to drop a ton.
Yeah.
And even Doctor Strange, I don't know if it's the second or third, but Multiverse or whatever it's called, that dropped like 70%. As did what's her name? Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow.
Right.
That dropped quite a bit as well. So it's just something I guess to look moving forward. Minions: Rise of Gru was second, $26 million. That's up to $262 million. which is now on pace with the first Minions. Where the Crawdads Sing, that was like a really big novel, like one of the, I think it was the best-selling novel last year. Was a surprise, opening third at $17 million, which they didn't expect it to open nearly as high. Top Gun Maverick, its 8th week of at least double digits in the box office. Came in 4th with $12 million. Elvis rounds out the top 5 at 7.6.
How long has Elvis been out? 2 weeks?
I think this was his 4th week.
Oh.
It just played in BF this past weekend.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it, but that's okay. I might see it on vacation.
It actually said that it's the most, I forget what the term was, the highest money-making adult movie that was not a franchise. Of this year. And the one that was really a big disappointment, I don't know how much you could really call it a disappointment because I didn't think it was going to do much anyway, was the new Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. Opened to a whopping $6.3 million, only $1,800 average location.
Wow.
Which Top Gun has been out for 8 weeks now and it's averaged twice that.
Word of mouth.
And it's
likes
its 8th week. It's still averaging twice what this movie opened to.
Right.
So, I mean, Top Gun is soon going to crack the top 10 for the highest all time. Like, in a matter of days, it will pass. I forget what it was. And they said could end up probably not in the top 5, but 7, 8 maybe. It's pretty impressive for a movie that's a sequel to a movie from 36 years ago. That's not bad.
Yeah.
You know? All right, so, yeah. Let me get on here. So we get some predictions from ESPN's baseball guys.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. At least for me, being a Met fan, Pete Alonso's been the champion the last 2 home run derbies. The Mets before that, I don't think they ever had anybody that really was a serious contender for the home run derby. I don't know if they had many people.
Did Darryl Strawberry ever participate?
I think they didn't. I don't even know if they had it back then.
They might not have, true.
Mike Piazza, maybe? Mike Piazza might have participated.
He probably could have, yeah. I mean, I remember back in the day, there were a lot of big stars that would do it, and they would stink at it. They would get, like, no home runs or, like, 1 home run, and you're like, this guy crushes home runs all the time. They're, like, just thinking too much. They're thinking too much into it, you know,
right.
Because everybody's just watching them. They're not watching anybody else at that one moment, you know. But I will give you the rundown because I do have it up right here. So Kyle Schwarber is the number 1 seed. Like I said, it's based on the amount of home runs you had at the time of this selection. You know, so it may not be true now, but at the time he had the most home runs. When did I miss him going from Chicago to Philadelphia?
Oh, he was in Washington after Chicago, and then he went from there to the Red Sox.
Schwarber did it?
Yeah, last year. I think it was last year.
How did I miss all this? I didn't know he was on the Phillies.
Schwarber started killing the ball.
Yeah.
They traded him to the Red Sox at the trading deadline, and he played the rest of the season in Boston.
And then he signed in the offseason with Philly.
Right.
All right, so he's the 1 seed. And the number 8 seed, a commissioner invited a couple of the older guys that are in their final year. Albert Pujols is the 8th seed.
Oh, so he's got to compete against Schwarber.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then next they got the 4 or 5 seed, which is something we're going to have to talk about this one guy too, because I already know what I'm going to say. The 4 seed is Juan Soto.
Oh.
He's going against Jose Ramirez. And the Mariners are on a tear, 14 in a row, 19 of 22.
Yeah.
That's impressive. The 6th seed is Julio Rodriguez. He's going against Corey Seager. And then the 7th seed is Ronald Acuna Jr.
Are they on the same team? Corey Seager and Julio Rodriguez? Aren't they on the same team?
I think they are. I think you're right.
That's wild.
And then Acuna Jr. is going against the 2-time champ, Pete Alonso.
Wow.
So before we do our Don and I are having a little competition. We're just going to have 4 guys. And I don't know, how do you want to do it? Whoever gets the winner? Whoever's 4 guys have the most home runs.
Oh.
Because that's difficult because we don't know whose names we're going to get. One of us could get all 4 of the losers in the first round, and then the other person automatically already won.
Right.
So maybe we should do 2. We should have total home runs for all your participants and whoever gets the champ. But before we do that, what did you think about the contract offer that the Nationals gave Juan Soto?
It sounded pretty fair to me.
I think it's too much pressure on a 23-year-old to offer him a $15 million or 15-year contract.
Right.
He's still where does he live? You know, I mean, do you think he's lived anywhere other than where he went to high school and then college and then in Washington, D.C.? You know, I mean, maybe he doesn't want to be cooped up in D.C. I mean, $440 million is a lot of money. But, I mean, 15 years, that's his life. You're essentially saying, okay, your whole playing career is going to be here.
Yeah, they're offering him to be the face of the franchise, which I think is kind of cool, you know?
Well, it is, certainly. But, I mean, there's got to be a reason why Bryce Harper bolted. Because the year after he left, they won the World Series.
Did they offer him that much money?
They offered him a lot. I don't think they offered him that many years. And I don't think I think it was in the neighborhood of like 12,360. But he bolted. I mean, he didn't even really like interact with him a whole lot. He just like pretty much said he's leaving it up to his agent.
Right.
Which is kind of what Juan Soto is doing right now. And the Nationals came out and said, you know, we offered him before the season a big contract. We upped the ante and offered him even more, and he's still not taking it. They're like, we're open to trading him now, because they realistically don't think they're going to be able to re-sign him.
Right.
And they got nothing for Bryce Harper, you know. So it's like, you know, some team. I mean, I looked up his stats. The stats this year aren't great. His average is low, 240, 250, you know.
Oh wow.
But I mean, he's a really good athlete, and he's got pop. You know, he can hit the ball. And he's like the 5-tool player. You know, he can do it all.
Well, there's already rumors that the Mets trying to acquire him.
They have to give up a lot. That's the thing.
I'm sure it's the same with the Yankees.
Oh,
Yankees must be
everybody. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, you know, it's what like the new. I don't know if you follow basketball or not, but what the Nets are asking for Kevin Durant. He's 33, coming off a couple injury-plagued years.
Yeah.
You know, and they're still asking for everything for him. You know, so it's like, I can't imagine what they're asking for a 23-year-old all-star.
Well, you think about it. Think about like the old days of like baseball, and they had like a guy that would be like the face of your franchise and would play for you forever. You know, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays. You know, these guys play forever for their teams, and now it's like you got to tie these guys up early, otherwise they're going to go out for free agency. Makes me wonder about Pete Alonso, because right now I'm watching him. I think he's been the best player on the Mets every year he's played. He's better than Francisco Lindor, who they just gave a boatload of money to.
Mm-hmm. He's playing tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
He made the All-Star, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not the starter, though. Goldschmidt is going to be the starter for the Nationals.
No, I'm talking about Lindor.
Oh, Lindor.
He made it too, right?
No, I
Isn't
don't
he
think he
shortstop?
did. I don't think he made the All-Star.
Isn't he your
team.
shortstop, though?
He is.
Yeah. I thought I saw his name on something today.
He might have. McNeil made it.
Because so many people
Alonso.
in the last few days have pulled out for injuries. MLB just keeps adding new people like every day. So I mean, I think I'm gonna get a phone call and be like, "What are you doing tomorrow night?" You know,
Could be. I mean, Lindor's got a lot of RBIs. They
Did
said
they have like 68 runs batted in or something
like that.
Because
yeah.
I saw, or it might have been, I don't know, it might have been Trey Turner. One of the shortstops had like 14 home runs, but like 68 runs batted in. Didn't have a lot of pop. I had a lot of runs batted in. So.
Yeah, that sounds like Lindor, because he and Alonso have teamed for the most RBIs of any two guys.
To me, that's all-star worthy. Those are pretty good statistics. You know,
Oh, yeah.
68 runs batted in, that's a lot.
Starling Marte is Marte.
Yep, I saw him.
McNeil and Alonso, I think, were the Mets. I think maybe McNeil is going to be the starting second baseman. I think.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure.
So I was thinking, you know, given the predicament the Yankees had with Aaron Judge, why don't we just do a Judge for Soto swap?
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's like 7 years difference, but
They could pay him.
Yeah.
Maybe he would stay.
yeah, I mean, I'd probably rather live in New York City than Washington, D.C. personally, but no, I wouldn't want that. I'd rather have Aaron Judge.
You know, it's a chancy thing to make somebody the face of your franchise and pay him a bunch of money. The Mets did it with David Wright. I don't think it paid off. He got hurt. They ended up paying him a lot of money.
That team, though, that whole team, I mean, Reyes, who was it, Johan Santana, did they all get hurt?
They did. Yeah.
I mean, because remember, like, the 1 year when they were all really good, they were in the playoffs, and did they get beat in the first round? In like it was like a really good series. And
I'm trying to think
They
of which.
lost in like the last game.
In 2006, they
Yeah,
lost in the last
Yeah, I think that's
to
what
the
it was.
Cardinals, who fell into the playoffs.
Yeah, and they lost in the last. I think it was the last inning of the last game, and it was a good game. And I remember watching it. I was like,
yeah.
that team's got a future, but they just never stayed healthy, and it was too bad because Wright was great.
Yeah.
Reyes was great. Santana was the best pitcher in baseball for a while.
I think they made a choice. I think they made a choice between Reyes or Wright.
I would have gone with right too.
And they decided not to pay both of them because they both were free agents pretty close together.
I would have gone with right too. Reyes almost to me seemed like he was a little playful that he could turn into maybe a troublemaker being in New York, you know.
Right.
I don't know. He just seemed.
Well, he did have the domestic violence thing toward the end,
Right.
of his career, which was a shame.
All right. So do you want to?
Choose?
Yeah.
All right, let's see who
I made him a lot bigger than I normally do because I know you always complain that my writing was so small.
All right, let's see who my first contestant is. I get yes.
Do you like my little
I
comment?
got Pete Alonso. All right.
All right. I'm gonna write these down so that we.
I'll definitely be
You didn't like my comment?
bum.
I was just disappointed because, Judge and Stanton both decided they didn't want. They're both previous winners, and they both decided they didn't want to do it. Judge was on fire this weekend. I wanted to mention that we beat the crap out of the Red Sox after they beat us 5-4, I think, Friday night. Then we beat them 14-1 Saturday and 13-2 yesterday. So I think the Yankees were a little steamed about that.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be like both these New York teams are both in first place. The Mets took two out of three this week from the Braves, from the world champion Braves. Then they played 4 games against the Cubs and took 3 out of 4 from the Cubs. So
no, that's not bad.
They're all right.
So the Yankees are up 13.5 right now. So Tampa's actually been playing halfway decent. Their starting pitcher is what's his name? Shane something?
Oh, Shane Baz.
No, is it them? It starts with an M. He's starting the All-Star game against Clayton Kershaw is starting for the National League, obviously. Because it's at Dodger Stadium. So I mean, he's worthy. He's having a good year.
He's a potential Hall of Famer. Probably be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was the premier pitcher in the National League for years.
Rays Shane McClanahan.
Oh.
It's his second year. He's got the best ERA in baseball, 1.71.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like 10-3. And I mean, Kershaw's no slouch. He's like 10-3 with like 2.13 or something like that. They're both having excellent years. I got Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, you got the Schwarbs.
I got Schwarber, so.
Let the Schwarb be with you.
Yeah.
That's a movie quote. So only movie people will get that joke, right? Let the Schwarb.
Yeah.
The Schwartz be with you. I don't know. You're not from New York, so you probably don't have as much of an appreciation of Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks.
No,
movies.
I'm not. Honestly, I'm not a big Mel Brooks person at all.
No, and I noticed that around the country that people like in New York, probably Los Angeles too. They love that type of humor. I got the aforementioned Juan Soto.
Well, your team's looking pretty good.
Oh, they're all good.
Well, I don't want to be the one that pulls Albert Pujols.
Schwarber is a monster. I have him on my fantasy team.
Schwarber is a monster.
He just doesn't hit for a high average, but he can crack the
As
ball.
long as he hits it over the fence, that's all that matters to me. And I got Jose Ramirez.
Ah. All right, let's see who my next victim is.
I'm doing for Pujols.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool if he won? That would be really cool if Pujols won. That's who I got.
Albert
Pujols.
Oh, the other commissioner, the old timer that the commissioner invited was Miguel Cabrera.
Ah, that's a good one too.
Oh, they
How come he's not in the competition? He turned it down?
It may have already been filled, to be honest with you. But I wish I'd popped it up because I was reading an article on MLB.com. The last time that they had the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium, you wouldn't believe the amount of Hall of Famers played in the game.
Really?
I couldn't believe it. I almost wanted to. Alan Trammell's in the Hall of Fame.
Is he?
Apparently, I didn't think he made it.
Huh.
I mean, there were probably like 20-something Hall of Famers in that game. I'm just reading a list of who's who. I mean, it was incredible. I was like, I can't believe that many Hall of Famers played in one game at the same time.
Man, when I was a kid, the outfield used to be Mays, Aaron, and Clemente. That was the starting outfield.
That's insane. I got Corey Seager. That's insane. That's crazy.
Which means I got the no, I don't.
No, there's 2 left.
All right. Tiny little piece of paper. We're going to unfold it.
So one of us is getting Acuna Jr. I don't remember who the other one is.
That's who I got.
Ronald Acuna Jr.
I got all National Leaguers. That's great. Are the other 4 guys American? No. Schwarber's national. Oh, and you're going to get Julio Rodriguez.
Oh, thanks, sir.
That's the only guy left.
Ruining.
Who is also on my fantasy team. So I have, from my fantasy team, Schwarber and Rodriguez. I don't have the other guys. I didn't get Pete Alonso.
So.
Because I did get Paul Goldschmidt. So Alonso got taken and I got Goldschmidt.
Man, I looked at Goldschmidt's stats today. He's got to be hands down the front runner for MVP in the National League right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he leads the league in batting average. I think he's second in runs batted in. He might be first in home runs. Right up there in runs scored, hits. I mean, he's at the top of everything. You know, I mean, a guy that hits for power like that, hitting 330 is pretty impressive. That doesn't happen a lot. And he's getting up there. He's 34 now, you know. I mean, I didn't realize he's been in the league.
Good ball player, man.
For a long time he has been. But now he's finally getting the recognition, I guess. Because what was he, in Arizona for a long time?
Yeah.
They're not exactly really the biggest market. I mean, other than, you know, when they had Clemens and Kurt Schilling, they didn't really have. But it looks like it's pretty fair. I mean, I'd say Pujols is really the only weak link in the whole. And that's just because he's older. I mean, he could still hit the ball.
Right.
Though, you know, I mean, and it is cool to see him. And it's his last year. He's announced that he's retiring. I think Cabrera actually announced that he's retiring as well.
Wow, same year.
Yeah. 2 hands down first ballot Hall of Famers, no question. I mean,
right. There are a few people that I've seen live, like in the stadium, that are just kind of like awesome. Like, to me, even, you know, Barry Bonds, I'm not in favor of his whole steroids thing, and I think he wasn't a very good person or whatever. But as a baseball player, when he played, it was incredible. I mean, you know, he could kill the ball. I mean, he was amazing.
I've never seen that many lights flash at once before. Every time he swung the bat, it was like fireworks.
And Pujols is the same thing. I remember going down to see him down at Citi Field, and I remember I'm sitting and I'm like, walk him. You got to walk the guy because he was that good and he was that hot when we happened to see him. I think he hit a homer that day too.
You remember when ESPN did Sports Century and they did random athletes, not just baseball, but they did baseball, football, basketball, hockey, Olympics, whatever. Well, I got a one for Christmas one year that had Derek Jeter, and had Barry Bonds, and then the cool thing, which I still haven't seen yet, which I'm shocked that I haven't, is the Bronx is Burning. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the mini series about the Yankees during like the Summer of Sam or Son of Sam killer and all that stuff. And I remember watching Barry Bonds as maybe not a rookie, but very, very early on. One, how small he was, and two, how unbelievably arrogant he already was. You know, I mean, we're talking early 20s. He wouldn't even talk to reporters. He wouldn't even acknowledge them. He'd just go out there and swing the bat and just walk away like he was like, you know, the owner or something like that, and like he was above everybody else. And
right.
I was like, and this is at such a young age, you know. It's like, maybe if he had a little more compassion, you know, people wouldn't like. I feel like people kind of forgave Mark McGwire in a way,
right?
And they kind of forgave Sammy Sosa in a way because of their personalities,
right?
As opposed to Bonds, just no forgiveness whatsoever.
Right.
You know, he's like, I took the cream, I didn't know anything, this and that. Like I feel a lot of the same thing would be said about the Andy Pettitte versus Roger Clemens. You know, Roger Clemens misremembered. First of all, you're making up your own word, you know. But then you're very arrogant about it. And Andy Pettitte was very honest. He's like, I didn't do it to gain an edge. He's like, I did it to get healthy fast. He's like, 'cause I want to play.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't do it because I thought I was going to get any better. I just did it because I wanted to get healthier faster. And I was told that is what would help me get healthier faster. And I sincerely believed Andy Pettitte because I think I see him as a stand-up guy. You know, I always thought he was.
Yeah.
And I like Roger Clemens. I'll tell you, him and Greg Maddux are my two favorite pitchers of all time. Oh. But talk about two completely different guys.
If he ever gets into the Hall of Fame, I'd like to stand there and bean him.
Clemens?
Oh yeah, I'm a hater, man.
Remember the whole Piazza Clemens incident?
That's exactly what
I gotta say, I don't like the Mets. I don't like Mike Piazza. You honestly think Mike Piazza did that on purpose?
What's that?
with the bat. Remember when the bat broke? Didn't Clemens grab the bat and like throw it at him?
He did, yeah.
He didn't do it on purpose. Well, you think he accidentally hit the barrel of the bat in the way that it broke and went right at you?
No.
He's such an idiot. You know, and I
That's what I mean.
I was
can't-
watching that game and I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? I mean, you're dominating. You guys are gonna. I think they took it in 5. They were clearly, no disrespect. The Yankees were clearly a better team. I mean, that was like their 4th World Series in 5 years. They were just beating.
Oh, that was that incredible year. Too.
Yeah,
That was the best, best.
They
of
won
the
it.
Yankee
They
teams.
won it in '96, then they won it again in '98, '99, and 2000 was the Subway Series.
Right.
And then they lost in Game 7 to the Diamondbacks 2001. So they had a heck of a run for that 5 or 6 years. But yeah,
That was the series. I tell you, back then, maybe they didn't have quite as many of the interleague play back then. So I hadn't really seen much of Derek Jeter until that World Series, the 2000 World Series. And there's something about him when he got in there, his bearing. You knew this was a guy that just was like a captain. He had that bearing. I don't even know how to describe it, but I had never seen him play before. And when I saw it, I said, wow, this is Piazza. Piazza had that type of a thing.
he actually had one of the games. He led off the game with a home run. They moved him to leadoff hitter, and I think that was the World Series that he won World Series MVP. We are just about out of time. I did want to mention one thing. You know how ESPN does their 30 for 30, where they're doing a new series called The Captain. It's a 7-part series on Derek Jeter that's coming out soon.
Wow,
That's
cool.
going to be kind of interesting to see because he's, again, seems like a very genuine stand-up person that,
and just an incredible baseball player.
absolutely, one of the best Yankees of all time, and that's saying something because
yeah.
that wall's running out of numbers to retire, But yeah, so
That's what we should talk about next week. Retired numbers, because I'm a little I got a little prickly. I'm a little prickly hairs about that whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, so this has been our episode of the Best Pictures and Best Pictures. I'm one of your hosts, Joey Powers.
I'm Don Treadler, and these are the ones you don't want to miss.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Here's Johnny. Go ahead. Make my day.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.